Okay, now you're probably wondering why I didn't show you how to do this. It's pretty easy. It's the exact same process as the um, appliquing the eyes on. They're just much smaller circles, and I place them right between. So, and I get them as level as I can. Now we're gonna make the same face. Well, kind of. I made her kind of crooked. I don't know. I might make her crooked too. Um, and I like having these on first before I make the mouth, because that way, if you have a Frixon pen, the one that can vanish in heat, you can just draw the line right there. Bada bing, bada boom. And then you can just follow that line. But I'm going to show you what I do, because I'm kind of weird and I don't like stitching on top of lines that I've drawn or pattern. Even if it's my own pattern, it's not comfortable for me for some reason. My brain can't quite get around it. So what I'm going to show you how to do is to go from one side to the other, and we're going to make a stem stitch just like this one. You could blanket stitch this if you wanted to, or just do a back stitch from one side to the other. Or if you have a permanent marker or a puffy paint marker and this is just not your jam, you could possibly do all of these things if you want to. Remember, I'm the person that if you want to make this exactly the way I make it, great. If you don't, let your freak flag fly. So I'm going to show you how I do this. Now you can see I've got these already sewn in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to anchor my knot here. And I do that because it's a good place to hide it, especially when you're working with a lighter colors of felt, whites and yellows and very pale colors. Sometimes the harshness of the black, even if it's thin and even if it's thick felt, sometimes it can pop through a little bit. It usually doesn't on the Benzie 100% wool, and I'm feel like I'm being an advertisement for them. So let's see. I don't want to do this straight. So let's see. I'm going to come in. It's probably going to end up straight. Okay, so I'm coming up right along that edge. Okay. And then remember, we're just going to go straight across, or straight-ish across. So there's the beginning. I'm going to come out, go back in. This stitch kind of determines your rate of angle, or your angle. Okay, I got there we go. And you can see I'm coming up right between them. Okay. One down. I'm going to just follow this. Go right there. And remember, I'm going to come up right next to that one. Can you kind of see how that looks? I'm trying to get as close as possible. Again, I am no award-winning cinematographer or art director. Oh yeah, we got this. I can do something curved, or not curved, crooked. And again, doing it this way, holding, I know that not everybody does embroidery work this way, but doing it this way when it's a handheld piece like this, for me, is actually quite helpful. Okay, come here, you. Right there. Okay. And I wanted to show all of this because there's a little weird trick I do. I don't know if anybody else does this. Embroidery artists all have their own ways of doing things. I tend to stick by that cardinal rule taught to me by a woman I met many years ago. Here we go. Right in. Okay, now when I get to the end, here I am at the end, making sure this doesn't twist. So we don't want that to twist. I'm going to come up. And then I'm going to kind of turn this sideways. I'm getting a little twisted here. Oops, sorry, bumped that. And then I'm going to go in. Can you see how I'm right in line with that stitch? Because I don't want it to just butt up against it. I'm going to pull it all the way in. So now it looks like it's gone all under. Now you can now see the difference between this side and this side. I'm missing a stitch over here. I always do this. So what I'm going to do is, you know me, I'm going to drop a knot in this side just in case. And now what I'm going to do is very carefully, because I don't just want to go across. The reason I don't do that is because when I'm stuffing, I may pull on this, and if it's just a loop, I may pull things funny. So on the outside when I'm stuffing. So I'm trying very hard, and it's a little hard to do this looking through the viewfinder. I'm just doing this in an attempt to keep the stitches in place, and I'm going about every other stitch, and I'm just looping through the back of the stitch to get to the other side. It's something I always forget to do, because if we look here, you can see I'm missing a portion like right there. I know it probably doesn't bug anybody else except me, but it's gonna bug me. So what do? I come back in about right here. That looks good. Pull this back. And then I add the other stitch in right there. Now, you don't have to do that. But that's how I do it when I need to add that extra one in. Now I'm back on this side. I can come over pretty safely, grab these, and add in a knot. I'm usually paranoid about knots. I want the knots to all. So there. And then I can clip this off. And notice I always pull this pretty firmly. So there we go. And I did make it straight. Told you. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the eyes, which means you're going to need to decide which way you want your eyes looking. Because I think you can put them right in the center if you want, or you could put them to the side. One of the things that I will do sometimes is kind of practice a little bit. Do I want them to look up? Do I want them to look? Oh, let's turn the camera. This might be a little easier. The camera's turned. Where did my eye go? I'll put them, move them around to see where you want them to look. And what we'll do now is I tend to use just a pen or a marker. Ballpoints are usually my favorite. So what I'm going to do is I want it to look this way. I know that the center is about there. I'm going to come just a little bit off center and in the middle. Can you see how that's just a little bit off center? And it's more like, let's see, it's about 8 millimeters from the edge. And again, with a lot of this, for me, it's muscle memory. My brain just knows what I'm doing. There are times that I goof up, though. Now, why am I not having a heart attack about making marks on this felt? Well, part of that is because it's all going to be hidden. I use an awl to do this. You can use a big needle if you want to. I like the awl because I'm having to push through. Got my fingers on the back, and I've got this like this, okay? And I push through all the way. I go back a couple of times. Now remember, there's glue underneath there. That's where the awl comes in really super handy. And I'm always making sure that I've got this. I press through and I make sure my fingers are out of the way. And that's it. That's all I use the awl for. Now, trying to get these guys into those tiny holes is not going to work. I use a combination of 2 different tools to help me with this. I use my really good scissors, and a pair of tweezers that are pointy. Needle nose tweezers. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these together, and it's kind of like if you've ever reamed an orange. I'm just going to do this one. And you can see I've already made the hole bigger. The reason I did that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the very tip of my scissors, and I'm just going to cut. This is just to give it a little room. Now watch what happens when I take my tweezer and put my tweezer in now. And I'm reaming. See how much bigger the hole is? Then the eye fits through perfectly and pops out the other side. Now, I make sure that I've got all of the holes, and you'll notice I only do 3 of these little snippets. Top and bottom, and the side that's away from the eye. We're looking this direction. If I made the snippet here, the eye would slide further to this side. And that's just something that I had to learn through trial and error. Let's pop you in there. Okay, we're looking pretty good. Let's get this last one. Snip at the top. And the snip, when I say a snip, it's like 2 millimeters. It's 2 millimeters. You see the let me see if I can get this. It's 2 of those little lines right there. 1, 2. That's it. You don't have to cut a whole lot. And the reason I snip is because these are thicker at the back. The posts that are going through on these safety eyes are really thick. Okay, now you can see I've got 1, 2, and I think there's one more in there. I never, ever, ever push these through any further than 1. There are some special tools that you can get. You can look on Etsy for safety eye tools. They have some different sizes and different kinds of tools there. I've just never gotten one because I can usually manage it on my own. Also, Glass Eyes Online has them. Now you can see, wow, I got those really even. Sometimes there'll be one that's like looking too forward, or one that's more in the middle. When I was putting this one together, this one on the outside, it was more towards the center. So I had to kind of finagle and move it over and do some creative clipping to get it to look the direction that I wanted it to. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We're going to flip it over. And I'm going to take one of these little things. And I want you to notice the little clamp, ratchet, washer that goes on the back does not go this way. It should look like a little hat. Put the little hat on. Sorry, okay. Now, we're only going to go down so it goes one time in. There we go. Can you see how that pops through just like that? And you can see it's kind of pushed in a little. It's making contact. The where's the other one go? Where did they go? Okay, I had these around here somewhere. Oh wait, they're right here. They're in the doll. You can see they're very thin, and I just want them pushed in a little bit. Sometimes when you clamp them down too tight, what it'll do is it'll start to pull at all of the applique work, and it doesn't look good. I recommend being in a very relaxed mood when you do this as well. So I'm holding them. I've got my thumbs here, and 1. Okay. Still looking pretty good. Remember, they don't have to match completely. Okay, double checking. We're still looking good. Okay. Once. There we go. And now the eyes are completely attached. Now, sometimes there are these little burrs that are on the back of them. I know this sounds weird, but when you're poor and you don't have tools, before I got my nippers, I would just use an old pair of clippers to nip those off, because sometimes they can snag on things and it bugs. So there you have it. There's the face. And you can see here, So at this point, if you're not putting any more eyeballs on and you're not doing any like applique, like with hearts or stars, or doing any embroidery work on it, because you can embroider a name on here, you can do all kinds of different stuff. You can set this aside. You are done effectively with the face and half of the torso. So I usually just set these aside, and now I can move on to how I'm going to put the legs together. And I'll show you that in the next video.